Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us on the Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation. He will be back next week, but we've got Hacker, we've got JJ. I am Hayes Carlyon. Lots to get to today. We're going to talk a ton of college football in our first hour. I want to get into the SEC Big Ten potential alliance, agreement, maybe even merge. And we're going to piece together matchups that we want to see moving forward. I'm going to suggest a format that I think the SEC and Big Ten should adopt. So that should be a lot of fun. We're also going to talk about the 25 best players in the SEC. The Athletics' Manny Navarro did a nice job with this. We talked about the one that he did for the ACC a couple weeks ago when Florida State only had one player among the top 25, and that was a safety at 19. So the SEC version is out. We'll get into that as well. Josh Hines-Allen had some really interesting thoughts about Travis Hunter on the Rich Eisen show. So we'll certainly play that for you and talk a little Jaguars. One thing that, and Hacker, I don't know, maybe you've talked about this on your show. I haven't really heard, this kind of among my, buddies that are on the beat. One thing that I feel like we've talked a lot about Travis Hunter. One thing that we maybe haven't gotten to is, what do the players think of him attempting this? Now, I think they're going to be supportive, but I think it's going to be interesting to see as it plays out, how it goes with Travis playing both receiver and corner, particularly if there's some rocky parts early on in terms of assignments and knowing assignments. So that's something that we'll get into. But yeah, Josh Hines-Allen on the Rich Eisen show, that was interesting. We're talking about some Gators basketball. Urban Meyer had a really interesting thought going back to his time as the Gators football coach on what Billy Donovan's first title team did to help and inspire what ended up being Meyer's first national championship football team later that year. I thought that was really interesting. We're going to play that. We'll talk a little bit about Florida. They've finalized their non-conference schedule for the most part, so we'll get into that. So lots to get to, but I've been waiting. I mean, I had trouble sleeping last night.
Yeah.
How is the Wimbledon bet going for you? How is your team looking?
My Wimbledon
it looks pretty chaotic over at the All England Club.
The All England Club is in complete chaos. My team is done. I lost
Done?
Oh, it's done because I lost my first round pick.
Oh no!
And when you lose your first round pick, you're toast. Zverev lost in 5 sets.
He's the 3 seed.
He's the 3 seed,
Wow.
and he lost in 5 sets. Alcaraz, the number 1 seed, almost lost in 5 sets. It's been really entertaining if you don't have matchsticks involved and want certain guys to win. The Americans did not have a great first round. There were some guys that lost that probably shouldn't have. Although, I mean, look, it's not the days of Agassi and Sampras and Michael Chang. Those guys set a different level. McEnroe, Connors before them. But there is an infusion of American talent, whether you're talking about Ben Shelton, the former Gator, Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul. There are guys, I think 3 American men are seated in the top 15, which I can't remember the last time that's happened at Wimbledon. Yeah. So
we've had like a 20-year drought.
Oh, it's like. Other than Andy Roddick.
Right.
In fact, I believe this is the first time an American male has been seated in the top 5 of a Grand Slam in like 15 years.
That's stunning.
And Taylor Fritz is the 5 seed. So, yeah, it's been a downtrodden time for American men's tennis.
What do you attribute that to?
I honestly don't know. Other than, maybe.
Is it just not as prioritized?
Well, that's it.
I'll say this. I mean, my kids tried about every sport. I don't know that we ever put either one of them in tennis.
Well, it's like, so, you take the countries that have really good players. Russia, Serbia, Spain, France. All right. In France, what's the sport that every kid's going to grow up playing?
Soccer.
And if you don't play soccer, tennis is going to be pretty high on the list. That's why there's a lot of French guys that are really, really good. In our country, it's football, it's basketball, maybe baseball. And then you start working your way down. Golf. Then I think finally you'll start getting into the realm of, tennis, soccer, that sort of thing. But what priority number 4, 5, or 6 is for us in tennis is priority 1 or 2 in most of these other countries. So the LeBron James of Serbia,
right,
Novak Djokovic, plays tennis, Where are LeBron James? Obviously, he's doing his deal in the NBA.
Yeah. So who do you think ends up winning Wimbledon based on the results so far?
I mean, it's hard to say, but certainly Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner, they've won the last 6 Grand Slams combined. Djokovic, it would be a great story because he's like 38 years old, and he's the last one of the 4. Federer's retired, Nadal's retired, Murray's retired. Djokovic is the last one standing.
Does it bother you they put Murray in that group? Because I don't think he belongs.
He would be the 4th.
By a mile.
By a mile. He would be the 4th. But Andy Murray is like the Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Karl Malone of the era.
Yeah, he was.
If it wasn't for Roger Federer or Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray might have double-digit Grand Slams. But every time he would get to the semis, literally every time in like a 6-year stretch, he would run into Federer or he'd run into Djokovic, and he could never get over the hump in more than not of those cases.
Yeah. It's well, I hope the two. Who do you have left?
Oh man, a bunch of unknowns. A bunch of unknowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need Alcaraz probably to win. I need some help to go with it. But yeah, it's been.
Do you guys do male and female?
No, we just do male. What we do is like we have 6 rounds.
Because I saw the Pagula girl lost.
Yeah, she lost.
She's the daughter of the Bills owner.
Owner.
Yeah.
Yep. Coco Gauff is who I'm rooting for.
She just lost in straight sets.
Coco Gauff
Really?
did?
Yeah.
Wow, that is wild.
What was she seeded? Like 2?
She's the 2 seed. That is nuts. It has been a wild first couple of days over there, and I don't know what to attribute that to. There have been, I think, 4 men seated in the top 10 lost in round
Is
number
it
1.
unseasonably hot for whatever reason?
It actually
over
has.
there?
It's been the 2 hottest days
like
at Wimbledon
that?
on record.
Maybe that's it then.
Maybe
some of these higher seeded players kind of thought they'd come in and cruise before they really had to get serious, and they got a bad matchup and got beat.
And I've always, as a tennis fan, I've always been into it, and it's fun to see parity because, look, when you had Wimbledon and the U.S. Open for 15 years, you knew it was going to be Federer or Djokovic or Nadal or maybe Murray. Now there's a lot more uncertainty, so it's a little bit more enjoyable to watch, but it's more wide open than clearly it's been in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, well, I hope your team pulls it together.
Well, I appreciate that. I need to give him a pep talk because it's not looking great.
Now, there's been a ton of NBA news today, and you're happy with what your NBA team did, so tell us what the Magic have done.
Well, Desmond Bain, they got in the trade a couple of weeks ago, and I really like that. They went out and signed Tyus Jones last night, former Duke Blue Devil. He's played in the league for a long time. He's 29, I think, 10 points, 5 assists per game. Got him at a reasonably cheap deal, 1 year, $7 million. He's going to back up Jalen Suggs. The money that's going out to these guys, Dorian Finney-Smith, former Gator.
Yeah.
Nice player.
Right.
Nice player. $53 million to sign with the Houston Rockets.
For how many years?
What was it, a 3-year deal, 4-year deal? For Dorian Finney-Smith.
How about that?
I mean, look,
he's got to be 34 now?
He's pretty old, yeah. Good player, but I don't know if he's $53 million. If you want to direct your kid into a sport, basketball might be the way to go because these contracts for average guys are just outrageous. We've seen a lot of turnover. Durant to Houston obviously was a big one. We've seen Boston kind of reload or retool. They shifted off Porzingis and Drew Holiday. This is the negotiation period. You can agree to terms. Trades can be agreed to on paper. Nothing is finalized until July 6th. But it has been a wild couple of weeks in the NBA.
What do you think of the two blockbuster kind of things that we saw today out of the NBA? So the Bucks waived Damian Lillard and are willing to spread out like $112 million in cap space over the next 5 years.
Yeah, you wonder if he's ever going to play again, too. He's like 34. He's got an Achilles, so he's going to miss the entire year. I mean, Kobe came back from an Achilles at about the same age, but that's for a 35-year-old, what Lillard will be to come back from an Achilles. That's going to be a tall order.
I didn't realize he averages over 25 points a game in his career.
Great player.
I mean, that's impressive.
Well, keep on, he was buried out in Portland forever.
Right.
I mean, he was with the Trailblazers, and nobody around here cares about the Portland Trailblazers. So when he was doing his thing out there for 7-8 years, you just never saw him because he played at midnight every night.
Milwaukee goes in after that waiving Lillard, they sign Miles Turner. Do you like that?
I like that for Milwaukee. Apparently, I did not know this. He and Giannis are buddies.
Okay.
And I think this is Milwaukee doing a peace offering to their best player, saying, we know that you're not happy with the way things are going, so we're going to give $100 million to your buddy. And Miles Turner's a nice player. He's not $100 million nice. Good for him and his agent. Indiana, this to me, they're doing what Boston's doing. They're punting on next season. They know Halliburton's going to be out. They didn't want to get into the luxury tax or the apron, as it's being called now. And they saw what Miles Turner was being offered, so they're going to let Miles Turner walk. That's why we've talked about, Hayes, the East being so wide open. Orlando's making moves. Atlanta is making moves. I like what New York has done, a couple of things they've done. People know that Boston, Indiana, and Milwaukee are going to be hampered with injuries, so people in the East are making their move right now.
And we saw the world champs, SGA gets a 4-year, $285 million extension. Again, no surprise. He's the MVP and just led them to the world championship. But talk about money.
Did you see what
$70 million a year?
Yeah, in 2029, 2030, that season, he's going to make $78.6 million that season alone. I mean, what is that? $800,000 per game, $850,000 per game. It's nuts.
It's amazing.
Great player.
Great player.
I mean, that's the price of doing business. You're an MVP. You're a finals MVP. You're arguably the best player in the game, certainly one of them. But my goodness, man, $78 million is what he's going to make in 2029.
Did you see, switching gears to the NFL, and obviously it's light this time of year, but did you see the Dolphins traded for retired tight end Darren Waller?
Yeah, he's probably going to be their starter. They were depleted at tight end after releasing trading Jonnu Smith.
But I mean, what are you doing?
Well, Darren Waller wanted to become a rap artist, if memory serves. He retired from the NFL. Really good player with the Raiders.
Yes, he had a couple amazing seasons,
and he got a great story. Obviously, he was in rehab and had some off the field demons. He overcame those. Went out to Oakland at the time and performed very well. And then he retired to pursue a rap career. And obviously that didn't go very well because now he's back in the NFL. And I wonder if he can still do it, because there was a time where you would have considered Darren Waller, Hayes, a top 10 tight end?
Oh, without a doubt.
Top 5?
He probably had a couple years where he would have been in top 5.
Maybe.
In like fantasy.
But it shows you how desperate Miami is for tight end help. Yeah. They get rid of Jonnu Smith and bring in Darren Waller out of retirement the very next day.
It's stunning that there isn't, somebody else that's actually, I don't know, active.
Right.
That, they could go and sign. But, we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be a great story and Waller will make an impact for him. The Dolphins, it's interesting because they seem to me to be a team that is, really getting ready to clean house. You look at their schedule, it's not overly treacherous. They play in a division. We'll see what the Jets and Patriots are. But for now, it's a fairly favorable division. You're going to lose 2 games to Buffalo. But then you've got 4 games that you should feel like you at least have a decent chance to win. Again, maybe the Jets end up being great. Maybe the Patriots end up, being better than what we think. But the Dolphins, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a season they have. We're going to get to this in our next segment, but I want to get your thoughts. Where do you kind of see this in college football, SEC, Big Ten? They were at each other's throats for a couple of years. Then that sort of dissolved, and now there's this harmony that seems like it's taking hold. Where do you kind of see the SEC, Big Ten going in the next year, 5 years, things like that?
I mean, there's a thought that they could separate, right, and start their own thing. I don't know about that, although if you would have told me a decade ago, Hacker, we're going to have free agency in college football, and we're going to have millionaires in college football, and we're going to have Texas and Oklahoma in the Southeastern Conference, I would have laughed right in your face. So who really knows what college football is going to look like, 5 years from now? You can't ever say, never say never. But I would be surprised if they completely separated entirely. But clearly, they're running the show. I mean, it's their thing. And if you look at the playoff expanding to 16 teams, well, why is it going to expand to 16 teams? There's more money involved, and the reason there's more money involved is because they want more SEC and more Big Ten teams. There's that proposal on the table, the 4-4-2-2 format, where you would have 4 Big Ten teams in the playoff every year, 4 SEC teams, only 2 from the Big 12, only 2 from the ACC, and the Big 12 and the ACC can't really say anything about it because, let's call it what it is, their little brother in the Big Ten and the SEC reigns supreme right now. It would be fascinating if the harmony discontinued and if those two started going at it to see where that would end up. But for the here and now, they're running the ship, and everybody else has to deal with it.
Well, when we come back, we're going to get into that SEC Big Ten kind of agreement, alliance. Well, it's hard to label what it is, but certainly they're in cahoots with each other at the very least. And they have talked about developing a schedule model. We see it in basketball. The SEC has the ACC Challenge and so forth. I think the SEC and Big Ten want to do something like that in football. What would it look like? I have a suggestion. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Experience professional grade at Nimnick Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% APR financing. That's right, 0%. You can't find deals like this anywhere else in Jacksonville. Nimnick also has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup, like the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Curious about an EV? Well, you can save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV, SUV, and truck, plus the all-new GMC Sierra EV. Now with cash incentives, now is the time to take an EV test drive. So shop at Nimnick today. That's Nimnick Buick GMC. Who's got the best prices, the best products? Nobody but Nimnick. We are professional grade GMC.
4 balls, 3 strikes, 2 teams, 1 winner. 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I got to tell you, I can't fix anything. I would be so lost with plumbing problems if not for Duck Duck Rooter. But everybody knows to call the Duck. Well, I do too. Whether it's plumbing, air conditioning, septic, they handle all of it, and nobody does a better job than our friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Any of those needs you have, call them today, 904-862-6769, or go to duckduckrooter.com. If you've got problems, call Duck Duck Rooter. They'll handle it. I guarantee it.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday Night Football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm 1010XL's Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my takes and weekend updates on YouTube and Facebook. Musings with the media mogul. That's right, motivated by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
From humble origins on Beach Boulevard to the grandeur of the old homestead, Taco Lou has bucked the odds, selling cheap tacos and even cheaper beers since 2008. I'll be the first to lament that nothing is cheap anymore, but much has not changed in 17 years. Bangin' Shrimp still rocks, margaritas flow day and night, and we love to see old friends and make new friends every day. You can still spin the wheel or sit outside on the patio in the sun with friends and family. It's been a ton of fun, and we have you, Jacksonville, to thank for 17 years. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit FCYMC. Pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
1010XL. Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your. Now, Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic. Check us out at KiaOnAtlantic.com.
The SEC. And this is how I believe it should look. Obviously, on the SEC side, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky are going to be exempt from this. They have in-state rivalries with teams in other conference, well, the ACC. So you don't want to give those up. So Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, they would maintain their in-state rivalry games with those ACC schools, so they would not be a part of this. But the SEC has the majority of their members do not have that in-state, out-of-conference rivalry that can really boost their schedule. The Big Ten, it almost doesn't exist at all. I mean, almost all of those rivalries outside of it when they play Notre Dame really doesn't exist. Their main rivalries are all within the Big Ten, which makes it fun. So you've got way more to go off of in the Big Ten than the SEC. And Hacker, the way I would like to see them do it is I would like to see an A group, a B group, and then the bottom feeders just aren't included in the challenge. So it would be, for me, it would be 8 total games a season. You'd have your 4 games in the A group. You'd have your 4 games in the B group. And I would give it a 4-year period for those matchups to really kind of materialize into a rivalry. You know, you go to their house twice in this agreement. I think that's good for the fans, and it builds a little bit of a personality there between the matchups. Once you get beyond the 4 years, then I think you should look at relegating. If a team went 1-3, you know, maybe relegating them to Group B. If a team in Group B went 3-1, maybe you move them up. So you could play with it after 4 years, but I wouldn't want to change it every season. I would want there to be some, you know, consistency over the matchups. But this is what I got for you, and then you tell me what you think. In Group A, I want to see Alabama, Ohio State for 4 straight years. 2 games in Tuscaloosa, 2 games in Columbus. I want to see Texas, USC. I want to see Tennessee, Penn State. I want to see LSU, Michigan. What do you think so far?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. The 4-year thing is interesting. I would have never come up with that, but on the surface, I don't hate it. I guess my one question on what you've said so far, would you give Florida, Kentucky, Georgia, and South Carolina, would you give those 4 the option that if you wanted to get in it?
Sure.
you can get in it as well and still keep your in-state game. Now, it makes your schedule harder.
Right.
But, I mean, as a recruiting tool, I'm sure if Florida is, propping up the fact that, hey, we get to play, Michigan for 4 years on top of Florida State, so you're going to be playing big games every week, I'm sure those 4 SEC schools might also want to get involved in that.
Without a doubt. My guess is they would not, but if they wanted to, absolutely, they should be able to be a part of this. And so... And looking, and again, the Big Ten has more schools, so it's going to be hard to include everybody anyway. Because, I mean, if you put everybody into it, the Big Ten still is going to have a couple teams.
Are you kicking Rutgers to the curb here?
That isn't going to be.
We're
able
not going to see that Rutgers Vanderbilt matchup.
Right, exactly. So in Group B. And again, this could change. These schools could move up if they had a good performance over the 4-year span of this initial matchup offering. Group B, I've got Auburn versus Washington, Oklahoma versus Oregon, Ole Miss versus Wisconsin, and Texas A&M versus Iowa.
Would you do these games with the SEC Big Ten Challenge? Would all the games happen on the same weekend?
I wouldn't think maybe same weekend, but certainly I would try to schedule them in the first 3 weeks of the regular season.
Okay.
So, I mean, if logistically you could do it that way, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I would think from an inventory standpoint, they'd want to separate it because if let's say you've got 8 games, then you probably, to try and put that into one weekend of a regular, let's assume it's not a week 0 where you've got the Friday and the Sunday and a Labor Day Monday, something like that. You'd have 3 windows on Saturday. So I would want them to be standalone games if I was Sankey and Petiti. I would want them to not be going against each other.
Right, not have Alabama, Ohio State on one channel, Tennessee, Penn State on another channel.
So I would think you'd separate it. And again, with the scheduling, you almost, I think, would have to, because I would think it'd be tough logistic, at least initially. Maybe as you got used to doing it, it would be easier to do it, once you got 8 years, into it. But I think we need to see this. I think it sets up beautifully. Again, I'm sorry if you're a school in the SEC or Big Ten and I didn't mention you. Maybe if again,
people want to see Indiana, Mississippi State.
You're right. I mean, if you want that game, maybe they can schedule it on their own.
Although, heck, Indiana is saying, "What are you kidding? We were in the playoff last year."
Yeah. But and again, that's sort of the genesis of this whole problem.
Yeah.
Is that Indiana got in. So the Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petiti, was talking to, I believe it was on Joel Klatt's show, and he's been kind of quiet. Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, has been really out in front, really the public face of where the playoff might be going. And, and Sankey has said, I like the model where the SEC gets 4 automatics into the playoff, the Big Ten gets 4. Then the SEC coaches kind of pushed back on that they would maybe rather see the 5 champions and then 11 at large berths. And Sankey, is certainly going to weigh that. But it was interesting. Petiti had been kind of quiet until this week. And then he said that he endorses the 4 automatics for the Big Ten and for the SEC. But on the Big Ten side of things, he wants to reimagine the conference championship weekend, which I thought was really interesting as well. So you would have like the Big Ten championship game, but then he wants to have, and both those 2 teams would be 2 of their 4, but then they would have 2 other games that would be basically play-in games. And he made an interesting point. You know what Ohio State finished in the Big Ten last year?
I do not off the top of my head.
They were 4th.
Wow.
The Buckeyes were 4th in the Big Ten standings and won the national championship.
Yeah.
Which they were 7-2. And there were 3 teams, including Indiana, who was 8-1, even though Indiana had no business, in my opinion, being considered among the elite. But they, and through no fault of their own, played a soft schedule, beat the teams that weren't very good, wasn't all that competitive in the one loss, the one good team that they saw. And again, finished ahead of the national champions in the Big Ten standings.
And got crushed in the playoff, too.
Right.
Now, there were some turnovers and whatnot, but Notre Dame beat them pretty good. So let me ask you this. I looked at the SEC standings, the final standings in 2024. Texas played Georgia in the SEC championship game. Now, in the 4 SEC teams, Are we assuming that if you make the championship game, you get in? Or would the loser of the championship game have to get an at-large, one of the 3 at-larges?
In the 4 model?
In the 4 model.
I would say for that, Sankey hasn't really weighed in on how it would work in the SEC. Petiti kind of made it sound like in the Big Ten, and so I would think this will mirror that the 2 teams competing for the conference championship are both automatically in. It's 2 of their 4.
See, that would be, and I agree that's how it should go, but that kind of kills the championship game.
Yeah,
because if both teams are already in
for the conference championship,
other than playing for the trophy,
right?
If you know you're going to be in the playoff. So I looked at the SEC standings last year. So you would have had in the 3-6 matchup, which would have conceivably been a play-in, you would have had Alabama at Tennessee, and in the 4-5 matchup, again a play-in, you would have had Ole Miss at Missouri.
That one's not overly exciting, but that's a fluky.
Right.
You're not usually going to get that. And really getting Alabama, Tennessee more than makes up for having to deal with Missouri. Not that Missouri, Ole Miss, it wouldn't have been a bad game.
No.
But it's just not the logos that you think of when you think of SEC elite.
And to spell it out again, it's pretty easy. So the 4-4-2, it's weird. It's 4-4-2-1-3 is what it's called. 4 SEC teams, and this is if it goes to 16. 4 SEC, 4 Big Ten, 2 Big 12, 2 ACC. So now you're sitting at 12 teams. Well, where do the other 4 come from? Well, the 1 is the best group of 5 conference champion. So that gets you to 13. And then you have 3 at-larges. The problem that I know some people are going to have with this is that Notre Dame is going to be grouped in with the at-larges, even though they're an independent. So how is that going to work itself out? So if Notre Dame's good, and by good, if they're 8-4 or better, they're going to put them on because of the networks.
They're going to be in more than they're not.
So then you only have 2 at-larges under that circumstance. I personally like that. I think it's interesting. I think the play-in factor would be fascinating, as opposed to the other model where you have the 5 conference champions and 11 at-larges, which doesn't give you the play-in model on Championship Saturday.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm excited about it. It's a radical change, and I totally get that. And look, I think it's gonna. I don't think it's really going to matter 10 years from now, because I think ultimately the SEC and the Big Ten are just going to merge and break away.
Oh, you do think they're going to do that?
I do, yeah. The money's just too big. I mean, and I think they may take some other team. They may take some ACC. They may take Notre Dame. But I think if those schools for whatever reason didn't want to go, or they just elected to stay, maybe that because of legal reasons, maybe Sankey and Petiti just decide, look, we can't take on schools. We'll get sued. We just need to, if we're going to do it, we just need to do it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that, they've got 16 in the SEC and 18, I think, in the Big Ten. So you've got 34 teams. You break away, your TV money is going to be billions, and you're only sharing that 34 ways. I mean, you become a mini NFL. I mean, the money isn't going to be NFL money, but it's going to be much bigger money than what they're paying out now, which is, it's still absurd, but it will go up. So that's why I think ultimately everything in the last 5 years with college sports has been, how can they make one more dollar?
Sure.
If they can make one more dollar, then bet on that being where the sport is going. And I think they would make a gigantic amount of money, the SEC and the Big Ten, if they broke away and only had to split the pie up 34 ways as opposed to 130 ways.
Who do you take? Would you take Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami? Would they come with you?
I obviously don't think you could go wrong with any of those schools.
And then anybody in the Big 12?
No.
I mean, I don't know. Do you take TCU? Do you take SMU out of the ACC for the Dallas market? Do you take,
I wouldn't, because it starts to, even if, let's say, there were no legal challenges, like the contracts lined up and schools could leave their conferences and there was really nothing that those conferences could do, you're sort of they're going to look at it as, well, that's fine, but we can justify adding Miami, Florida State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, because that pie piece is going to generate more revenue having them so we'll all make more despite adding one more pie piece here. Whereas a school like SMU, the Big 12 schools, I think at that point you're losing money if you're an SEC Big 10 school by bringing them in, because I just don't think they're going to bring the revenue I mean, if you're like, again, with like Texas, you've got the Longhorns, you've got the Sooners, you've got A&M. You know, I mean, I don't think they'll look at it and say, we also have to have, the 4th, 5th, 6th best program in the state.
Oh, that's fair. And this is a football thing, but if you're talking about breaking away, every other sport conceivably would break away too. So what would happen to March Madness at that point?
Thing.
What would happen to the NCAA baseball tournament? I mean, you're talking about some major sports atmospheric altering things if the Big Ten and the SEC were to do this.
I think they would try to break away only in football.
And I have no idea, the legalities of that.
To be honest, the NCAA has never run football. So it's always been, it doesn't make sense, but the NCAA has never given a football championship out. I mean, it's if you notice what like men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, when they win the College World Series, softball, the plaque that they get, it's not particularly decorative. It's like this long plank, basically. They don't give that in football.
Right.
In football, you get like the crystal ball, or you get now the whatever it's made of, the gold trophy. So that would be the question. And then I think if you're the NCAA and you're the other football schools that aren't part of this merge, do you allow them to continue to do it? My guess is you would, because it's economically crippling to say, well, because they left us in football, we're going to now exclude them in basketball, and certainly with March Madness. I mean, that's really the only thing that I think would be in play. Yes, the College World Series is damaged if you didn't have the SEC and Big Ten, but I don't think that's enough of a revenue generator to make anybody stay up at night. But March Madness?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if
it's
you
$1 billion enterprise.
Well, I mean, how many teams, if in the SEC and Big Ten, how many teams made March Madness this past season?
13 SEC teams got in.
It's got to be, low 20s?
Yeah.
Well, that's a third of your field.
Right.
So I think if you're the ACC, any other
They're talking about expanding March Madness now past 68 already.
So you almost have to. Yeah, unfortunately, the SEC and Big Ten kind of know this. Like, if you're the other parties in college athletics, you kind of have to let them do what they want to do. Because if you tell them, well, then that's fine. If you do this in football, then you can't participate in March Madness. Well, the SEC and Big Ten are still going to have a tournament. They're still going to be able to sell that tournament, and they're still going to make money on that tournament. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, what are the media conglomerates now giving the NCAA for March Madness when they've just lost two of the biggest conferences that provide a third of the teams in their field?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't work. And that's why, again, there's a lot more branches to this. Again, I'm of the opinion, and 5 years ago, I never would have thought we would have free agency. I never would have thought you could transfer to 3 different schools in your college career. I never would have thought we'd have players leaving school A for school B for $4 million. So you never say never. And as you've been talking through this, I guess I could see a world in a couple of years where the Big Ten and the SEC would split away. Let me ask you this. What needs to happen? What needs to be done to ensure that does not happen?
I don't think there's anything that can prevent it. It's just a question of, will Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti actually do it? Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of I don't think there's really anything. There's no economic model that anybody can present the SEC and Big Ten to where they would make more money by staying in this current model. They will always make money by breaking away, make more money. So honestly, I don't know that there's anything that will prevent it other than Sankey and Petitti not wanting to be the ones that have to own it, because it will obviously greatly change the sport, and it will. I mean, I feel for. I mean, if you're a fan of a team that isn't a part of this, what becomes of your football program? I mean, what are you now chasing? Can you get excited about pursuing a championship when the SEC and Big Ten have moved on to do something else? So, I mean, it's going to be a revolution. I mean, unlike anything that we've seen, everything that we've seen to this point, and you're dead on. We never thought we'd see any of this happen in college athletics.
Goodness gracious, no.
But I still think we're only on like the 4th chapter of the book.
Well, yes, I do think that. But obviously, it was becoming the wild, wild west very quickly. with the NIL dollars and everything that's going on. And you see them trying to reel it back in, the whole Congress situation, which I believe today, right, July 1st, is all the money, that the $20.5 million or whatever it is, goes into the bank accounts, and that's now what you can use on your NIL. So they are reeling it in a little bit, because there was a year or two there where it was just madness.
Yeah.
And look, the players deserve money, certainly. Yeah, I get that. I don't think that people that wanted the players to get paid and all of this to happen, I don't think they fully understood how crazy it was going to get so fast.
Right.
And it certainly did. It went from 30 miles an hour to 130 miles an hour in the span of about 12 to 18 months, and they couldn't keep up, and it had to be reeled in to a certain extent.
I saw the Tennessee athletic director, who's a really smart guy, Danny White, Mike White's brother.
Right.
Used to be at UCF, went to Tennessee, and Tennessee's done a great job with their athletic department. They actually finished ahead of Florida in the Learfield Cup standings, which, I mean, Florida has owned that when it comes to SEC dominance for the most part, for the last 30 years. But Tennessee has really done a remarkable job with their athletics department. So this is a brilliant man, and he was interviewed this week, and I apologize, I don't remember exactly who he told this to, but Danny White said we really need to start thinking about collective bargaining, which is smart. But what they need to do if they're going to collective bargain, like obviously what we see in professional sports, those deals are usually about a decade long. If college athletics is ever going to fix this permanently, they should collectively bargain, but they should insist, if they're going to do it, that agreement lasts for 60 years. Because if it's only going to last for 7 years with where the money is going to go, the $20 million, $20 and a half that they're paying now, in 10 years, it's going to be $55 million.
Right.
So they need to have an agreement that locks in the $20.5 million for multiple generations, I think, for it to work. That's what I would advise them to do, because until they have a CBA that everybody knows the regulations of and contracts are shared like they are in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons can pull up any contract that the Jaguars have on record.
Yeah.
The Jaguars can pull up any contract that the Green Bay Packers have on record. It is open to the clubs to look at.
Well, you're starting to see problems like the Wisconsin player that went to Miami.
Absolutely.
Wisconsin's saying, I don't think so. We had a deal with you. And I don't know how all that's going to work, but they went public with it.
Right.
Quick, in your scenario, the SEC Big Ten thing, you piqued my interest. And I know I'm going to upset some people of the fan clubs here in town. But again, legalities, I don't know, and I don't know if you know this, but if you're going to separate, does Mississippi State and Vanderbilt and Purdue and Rutgers, do they get to come along for the ride in all this?
I think so.
What value do they add?
Well, I mean, in terms of value, I think I think it's loyal. I just think that these conferences aren't going to contract. I think they're going to view it from it's a partnership. And one that's been, for some of these schools going on for nearly a century.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to say, you've been great partners. Yes, you may not win us a lot of national championships in football. You historically may not be very competitive, but again, think about where we're going, where everybody's going to have the same amount of money to spend.
Yep.
So it's going to, if you have traditionally not been a great college program, this is your era, man. Because if you handle your business correctly, you can build a winner, because you've got the same amount of money that Alabama, Florida, LSU. It's how you choose to disperse it. And you got to pick the right guys. But it's not nearly as inequitable a system as it was when it was just recruiting and, well, I'm going to go play for them because they're on TV and I can win there. And they look at all the guys they've put in the draft, and why would I sign there? They haven't been to a bowl game in 17 years. And now it's going to be like, who's paying me the most? So that puts the Vandy's and Mississippi States and, and Northwestern schools in the Big Ten that traditionally don't do great in football. It puts them right there.
The whole thing sounds crazy. The whole thing sounds so complex. But again, if we've learned anything, the crazier it sounds in college football, the more likely it is to happen down the road.
Yeah. It's been a fun talk. Well, let's get it to the college football field, because The Athletic did a really cool list, the top 25 players for the upcoming season in the SEC, we are going to touch on that. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Ever wonder what Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser did before the drill?
Actually, we're unemployed, all right? Yeah.
Dan and Jeff.
I'll bet you $5 you can't tell which one's the ex-con.
Mornings on 1010XL.
It's all coming back to me.
Frank Frangie here for my friend and insurance agent Craig Dewhurst. Craig has been helping families on the First Coast with their insurance needs for 25 years as your good neighbor and local State Farm agent. Now's a great time to review your insurance policies, whether you need auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, or insurance for your golf cart, boat, or jet skis. Craig handles all of my family's insurance needs, and even better, he gives back to the community. Call Craig today at 904-940-9740. That's 904-940-9740.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Beards Diamonds is where Jacksonville shops for engagement rings and fine diamond jewelry. Hicken here, Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center stands out in a big way. They're local. The owners are a part of our community. Say hi to the Lupos. For more than 40 years, by the way. Money spent at Beards doesn't go to Wall Street. It stays right here. The best part, you don't compromise on anything. Beards has the best selection of diamonds in Northeast Florida, hands down. Beards doesn't have to jack up prices to meet a corporate bottom line. Beards doesn't have commission salespeople. They have trusted advisors. Beards has all the top names in bridal jewelry like Decore, Veragio, and dozens more. Beards guarantees to give you a better price, a better value, period. Listen, a lot of those chain jewelry stores are all owned by the same mega conglomerate. They have different names, but they are all the same owner. Beards? No. Your locally owned alternative, beholden to the people of Jacksonville, not Wall Street. Don't buy a diamond ring or any piece of jewelry without talking to my friends at Beards. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beards.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
As soon as possible.
at 641-1010.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville's full of memorable sports moments. Remember Tiger Woods' 60-foot putt on the iconic 17th? Gary Coate called it better than most. Better than most. Well, Coil Fencing is better than most. They're better than all. Coil has been that for nearly 100 years. So if you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today. That's at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids around the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jumboshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable, family, fun.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance painting.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnik Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnik, your friends in the car business since 1941.
You're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. Won't you see ya?
So good.
I'm down on my knees.
I feel bad talking over it. I want to send speedy recovery wishes to Paul Simon, just an icon. The 83-year-old had to cancel some concerts, unfortunately, because he has to undergo back surgery. It's supposedly minor, so hopefully he'll be able to be back out there in a short amount of time. This is Cecilia, and great song.
83 years old,
83
on tour.
years old on tour.
Man.
Isn't it incredible?
That is crazy.
And sounds great.
Yeah.
They all do. I mean, it's amazing. So anyway, yeah. Speedy recovery, get well, Paul Simon. So let's stay on college football. I want to talk about this athletic list, the top 25 players in the SEC for the upcoming season. I'll share with you the things that I was surprised by. Georgia doesn't have a player in the top 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since we've seen that. Now, this is just one man's list.
Yeah. I get the feeling, though, and I'm talking to some people with Georgia that I'm going to have on Hacker After Dark later this week and next week. Kirby really likes that. Yeah. Kirby's been on the radar. His team's had the bullseye for a long, long time, and now everybody's talking about Clemson. Everybody's talking about Texas, whenever we're going to get to here in a moment.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that Kirby is really enjoying where Georgia is right now on the national scene.
I think you're right, because he was on with Feinbaum during the SEC meetings a month or so ago, and he made a comment. Paul had said something about Gunner Stockton, and Kirby made a comment like, "Oh, Gunner heard it. Gunner's ready." So I kind of agree with you that Kirby does feel like he's like, "All right, yeah, you guys ride us off," and they may be phenomenal. I mean, who's going to bet against Georgia?
Right.
I mean, I'm not betting against Georgia.
I mean, all the talk is Texas, LSU, Alabama, I guess, are the three that everybody's talking about right now. Honestly, at SEC Media Days, I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia is picked fourth behind those three.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make a case. Where would you pick them? I'd pick them one.
You'd pick them one? Wow.
Just because, I mean, in terms of just how good they've been. I mean, on terms of what we know, I think the gap has closed, but I do think there's something to be said for just how, I mean, they expect to win it all, and the programs that are chasing them, I don't know that they're there yet.
Can I break down these rosters 1 to 85? No, I can't. I'm just going on what people are telling me, and I do know a fair amount about both. People think LSU is going to be really good.
Really good.
People think LSU is going to be really good.
But can they live up to that?
Well, and by the way, they open at Clemson.
I know.
We're going to find out really quick. And they have Florida week 3.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out really quick about Nussmeier and LSU. And then Texas, which is interesting because I almost look at Texas like the Indianapolis Colts. You look at the Colts roster, it's a great roster. There's some question about quarterback. Texas, they have Arch Manning. If that guy's name was Arch Thompson or Arch Smith, there'd be real questions about him based on what he's done in college. But because he's got the last name Manning, people just assume he's going to be awesome. And he very well may be. And if he's good, Texas will be good because their roster's incredible. But I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on the Arch Manning stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, again, it's if his name was Arch Jones,
right?
You know, how would people view him? So no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And in terms of looking at the top of this list, we'll talk about this in our next segment as well. So Lenoris Sellers, he has as the best player in the SEC going into this season, the quarterback at South Carolina. So he's got Sellers at 1. He's got Anthony Hill, the linebacker from Texas, at 2. Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle from Alabama, is 3rd.
He's good.
Yeah. Colin Simmons, the defensive end at Texas, is 4th. So 2 for the Longhorns in the top 4. And then Ryan Williams, who I would put higher, that receiver at Alabama, who last year was incredible.
You almost forget about him because of Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
But you're right. Ryan Williams is awesome.
He is unbelievable. So that's the top 5. But there was some interesting things in here. Again, Georgia not having anybody in the top 11 stood out to me. Christian Miller, the defensive lineman, Manny Navarro of The Athletic, has it 12. He does have 3 Gators on here, which, again, I thought for Florida, they probably haven't had that happen. If you had been doing this list consistently throughout the years, it probably would have been a while since you would have had 3 Florida players in a top 25 in the SEC, particularly with Texas and Oklahoma joining the league. I thought that was really interesting in terms of those 3. It's Jake Slaughter at 10. Lagway makes the list, which, again, is probably more potential what he could be than what he has been so far.
What quarterback is Lagway? Like, where is he?
That's a great question. So Lagway is 22nd overall. Sellers is 1.
I'd have to imagine Nussmeier is above Lagway.
Nussmeier is 7th.
And then
from LSU, the next quarterback is Mateer from Oklahoma, the transfer.
Yeah, okay.
So John Mateer is 13th. And then Arch Manning is 16th.
Got Arch above you, Lagway, huh?
Yep. And then let's see, is there a guy between Arch and Lagway?
No love for Diego Pavia.
Pavia is on the next 10, which
10.
I didn't bother with.
Love Pavia.
If they didn't make the 25, then yeah, they weren't going to be discussed. But yeah, Lagway 22nd, and then Lagway is the final corner. Yeah, he's got Pavia is 28th on this.
I wonder if people were sleeping on Caleb Banks. He wasn't in that mock draft yesterday on ESPN.com. He's not in the top 25 here. I know he had some injury issues in the spring. There was a point last year where Caleb Banks was literally unblockable.
Right.
And I don't know why he's not showing up on these preseason lists unless the injury he had in the spring is maybe more severe than we know about.
It's a top 25 list, but then he puts 10 guys that didn't make it. He's got Caleb Banks as the last guy on the list.
Okay.
So Florida's got 3 in the top 25, and then they've got Austin Barber and Caleb Banks is 2 that just barely missed. But still, it speaks to the amount of talent. A couple other things real quick, and because I want to talk Jaguars in our next segment. Tennessee, nobody in the top 17.
Wow.
And we know they're talented.
Could be a down year in Knoxville.
It just speaks to how loaded this conference is. Texas A&M, who was a team a lot of people like, they have no one in the top 24 on this list. And again, it's just one guy's opinion. Maybe you look at a top 25, somebody else's, in the SEC, and you would see a different representation. But going just off of this, it's remarkable to me how many good teams have, no representation in the top 10, some not even in the top 15 or 20.
We'll figure out some stuff pretty quick in week 3, Florida, LSU, and then, of course, you have Georgia, I believe, traveling to Neyland to take on Tennessee right there in the 3rd week of September. So that's going to be awesome.
It is going to be a lot of fun. When we come back, we are going to get it to the Jaguars. Josh Hines-Allen had some interesting thoughts on the Rich Eisen show about Travis Hunter. We will share those with you next. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, Equal housing lender.
The summer
It's summer. It's summer. It's summer
of
of
1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
The dog days of summer are here, and so are the hottest deals of the year. Whether you're hauling down the street, cruising on the beach, or just escaping the heat, we have the ride you're looking for and the wow you experience you deserve. Save big on select models with sizzling summer savings, low financing, and limited time bonus cash on all trades. So don't sweat it. Come beat the heat at Beaver Automotive, where the summer deals will wow you.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com, powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Yo, it's your main man ET here for Explore Clay. And Clay County is your destination this 4th of July. Start the morning with the Freedom 5K in Keystone Heights. Medals for the first 300 finishers and a scenic course through the shaded neighborhoods. Then enjoy the 57th annual celebration at City Hall with vendors, live music, and family fun. Wrap up the day at Moose Haven in Orange Park for the American Pride 4th of July, a free Riverside event with food, live entertainment, and fireworks over the St. Johns River. Discover more at exploreclay.com.
Discuss the beautiful game. The Coaches Show presented by Sporting Jacks. Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Baylor. Get an hour of soccer talk Tuesday evenings at 6 on 1010 a.m.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Mia here, and I love my custom closet from Closets by Design. With summer in full swing, having my warm weather wardrobe front and center is a game changer. No more digging for the right outfit on a hot day. If your home needs a summer refresh, whether that be a closet, a garage, or a pantry, schedule a free in-home consultation with Closets by Design. And the offer has been extended, folks. Receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. And free installation on any order of $750 or more. Visit closetsbydesign.com.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Ready to add some value to your day? The everyday deals at Sonny's have got you covered. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for 10, the pork and rib combo for 12, all you can eat ribs for $19.99, and our new loaded barbecue potato for $11. Available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp will begin a new series this evening against the Charlotte Knights at 7:04. They'll play the first 3 games of the series up in Charlotte before heading back home to VyStar Ballpark for the final 3 games beginning Friday, July 4th. Righty Josh White will make his first AAA start for the Shrimp tonight. but has a 6-0 record and 1.27 ERA pitching for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos of AA. Four-star defensive lineman Kendall Gerville out of Fort Myers will be making a decision where he will continue his academic and athletic career tomorrow, July 2nd. The 6'4", 315-pound stud has his top 3 schools narrowed down to Florida, Florida State, and Texas. After visiting the Gators back on June 13th, On3's director of recruiting Chad Simmons has predicted Gerville to commit to the Gators. It's 88 degrees at 5:04. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
I'm just going to play Paul Simon the rest of the show.
Yeah.
You don't mind, do you?
I like it.
Rolled out of bed and she ran to the police station.
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Papa found out, he began to shout and he started.
What do you think of Josh Hines Allen?
I'm happy he's a Jacksonville Jaguar.
I am too. He's such a good player, great guy.
Yes.
And great player at times for sure as well. I'm really excited for him because I'm hoping that they have finally fixed it in terms of the organization. I think it's really a cool irony that they've hired a coach that has a Kentucky connection, because it's just, it's odd to see Kentucky produce a player like Josh Hines Allen.
Right.
And then to have a head coach come in as Josh Hines Allen turns 27, and it's a coach that was at Kentucky as offensive coordinator. You hope that there's some kismet and some good vibrations there and some good times coming for Josh Hines Allen, because look, he deserves it. He's been a great player here, and unfortunately, other than really one season, hasn't been able to really enjoy a lot of it.
I mean, it would not surprise me if one day, 10, 15 years from now, at halftime of a Jaguar game in the Stadium of the Future, they're putting Joshua Hines Allen's name into the pride of the Jaguars.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe they've put any defensive guys in there, which is sort of interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you look at Brackens, Darius, Rashean Mathis,
Right.
et cetera. But I think Hines Allen is on that trajectory. He's going to pass Tony Brackens this year.
Needs 2.5, right?
Needs
to break?
2.5. If a crazy stat, I don't know. I think you were on vacation last week. You probably know it anyway. Of the all-time Jaguar sack list, do you know how many in the top 10 are currently on this year's team?
Well, I'm going to say it's high because you're asking. So
it's higher. It's more than one.
Is Smoot in the top 10?
He is. Wow. There's three of them.
Dewan Smoot is in the top 10 for sacks
in a Jaguar uniform.
Right.
Yes.
In this franchise's history.
Yeah, Dewan Smoot, I believe, is number 9, and Trayvon's number 10. Dewan's got him by, I think, a half sack. I could be reversing those.
Wow.
But Hines Allen is 2, Smoot Walker are 9, 10. So, yeah, I don't know how many NFL teams are entering the 2025 campaign with 3 current players among the top 10 in quarterback sacks in franchise history. Now, Calais Campbell's got like 100 sacks,
right?
But only 31
correct.
in a Jaguar uniform.
Right.
So Hines Allen, that'll be a big deal when he passes Brackens, because Brackens has had that for 23 years.
Yeah.
I don't think Brackens last year here was like 03. So you're talking 22, 23 years. That record has stood at 55 sacks. Hines Allen should have that in the first couple of weeks.
And it's such a big record. I mean, when you talk football, I mean, sacks is something that has really gotten elevated. I mean, obviously it's, passing touchdowns is probably one, rushing touchdowns. But in terms of, a number that fans just lock in on, it's the sacks. And yeah, it's going to be a great day when Josh Hines Allen breaks Brackens' record, and to your point, hopefully it'll be in September.
So I pulled it up here. So Brackens is number 1 with 55. Hines Allen, number 2 with 53. Care to take a guess who number 3 is in franchise history? Relatively recently.
Ngakoue,
37.5. Then you go to Joel Schmingy at number 4. Calais Campbell at 5. John Henderson, 6. Paul Spicer, 7. Kevin Hardy, 8. Trayvon Walker, 9. Dewan Smoot, 10.
Where's Red Bryant on the list?
Red Bryant. Love Red Bryant. One of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
Red Bryant, who buried Zane Beatles on that practice field one day, about literally 5 feet into the turf.
Gary Walker, by the way, is number 11. Great Gary Walker story. So back in the day, I used to go down to the parking lot to get autographs during training camp before I obviously started working in the media. I was, 14, 15 years old. And I would go up to Gary Walker every day because we would just happen to get there like the same time. And he learned my name because I was there so much. And one day he was just joking around. He said, "Get away from me, Green." Because I had gotten his autograph so much that Gary Walker's like, "Get away from me." And he started laughing. Yeah, that's what I did when I was 15, 16 years old.
That's a great story. Well, Josh Hines-Allen joined Rich Eisen on Eisen's show and had some really interesting comments about Jaguars rookie Travis Hunter. And we're going to start with, this is Rich Eisen asking Josh Hines-Allen if he can, in fact, play both sides of the ball.
I believe so. I think, what plagues every NFL player or any professional athlete is injuries. I think if he can allow himself to stay healthy and take care of that, get in the hyperbaric machine. I think he has a great career ahead of him, both sides of the ball. Again, if he's the best DB, is he the best wide receiver? Who knows? But is he a great playmaker on both sides of the ball? Yes, he is. And at the end of the day, when you're a team like, us right now, who's in that stage of we have to get it right now, we need the best playmakers on the field at all times. And if he can give you that value, let's do it.
I loved hearing that. And again, we haven't seen the pads go on yet, but we have seen enough natural athleticism out of Travis. I say that. I shouldn't speak for everybody. I have seen enough to where I'll be shocked if he's not exactly what he just described, a great player on both sides of the ball.
I agree. I guess my concern is, and we brought it up earlier, and I think everybody has thought about it, physically, athletically, I don't have a lot of concerns. Is he a little bit light? Am I worried he's going to go across the middle and, Aziz Al-Shire or somebody is going to find him and what's going to happen there? This isn't Kansas State he's playing. That's maybe a little bit of a concern. But that's my only one from a physicality standpoint. My biggest thing is the mental aspect of it. It's going to happen this year because he's got to take in so much information that what happens if an assignment is blown in the secondary for a touchdown, or if he runs the wrong route that turns into an interception, then what does the conversation morph into about him playing a lot on both sides of the ball?
Well, and that's where I wanted to ultimately take this. So I'm glad that you got us there, because we've dissected Travis Hunter as a Jaguar, as we should, from every angle. One angle that we haven't really yet is projecting what is the locker room going to think about this. Now, obviously, they're going to be supportive up front, and Josh Hines-Allen is very supportive in his comments on the Eisen show. But to your point, if he does start, it's one thing if he gets beat, but if he starts missing assignments, the pressure that's going to be on that coaching staff, who is inexperienced, from the veterans in that locker room saying, why am I not out there? I know what I'm supposed to do in that situation. It's something that there is so much pressure on Travis Hunter already because of the vision that he has for his career and the vision that James Gladstone has for his career and the assets the Jaguars have given up to acquire Travis Hunter. So adding pressure isn't going to matter. The pressure is already, it's higher than on any player in the NFL. Certainly it's higher than any player that's entered into this draft. And in terms of what they want to do. And that's the thing that I think is going to be really interesting as they go through it. How much patience will the locker room have for Travis to kind of find his way? The other side to it is, can you imagine if he masters both sides of the football? Can you imagine if we get to like week 8 and we can't think of a mental blunder that Travis Hunter is, that's been obvious to us?
That would be a great situation to be in.
It'd be a great situation. Yes. But then it shows to every other player in the NFL, why can't you, like Calvin Ridley, why can't you learn a playbook if this rookie can come in and master what he's supposed to do on both sides of the ball? It's going to be really interesting. The work ethic that Travis Hunter has, is obviously exemplary. And Rich Eisen asked Josh Hines-Allen about what he has seen out of Travis Hunter and that work ethic.
we've seen a competition between not only him, but it brings out to everybody else because when you come to the Jacksonville, you're going to notice him. That's the first person you're going to go look for. And then you go, okay, who is he competing against? Mm-hmm. And then now that person right there is put on the spot now too. What are you going to do when the camera's on you? And those guys make plays as well. And so I'm excited about our defense. I'm excited about our offense. Again, I think we got a good, aggressive team and an experienced team now. Adding Jordan Lewis, I think Jordan Lewis is a heck of a player. Eric Murray is a heck of a player. So our secondary already got so much better. And then we added guys up front, veteran guys, Emmanuel Agba, Dewan Smoot back. Me and Trey is already in there. Then you have Eric moving to 3-tech. So we got and then our linebacker core has been the same for the last couple of years. So they have the unity in that unit. So on defensively, we got a good, solid group. I love Coach Camp. He's somebody that you want to play for. Who brings it, you get the coaches that scream and kind of all right, and then he screams one day and he doesn't scream. No, this dude's intense, but he shows the passion and love that he has for the game and for us that makes us want to play for him. It makes us want to understand the defense a little bit faster for him. So that's always a good sign. That's always a good trait to have in a coach. And that's what I'm saying. I think we're in a good position. I'm ready to maximize off the value that I can bring to this defense and just be the best, defensive player I can be.
Josh Hines-Allen, such a good guy. He's on the Rich Eisen show, which is obviously a very big platform. And he's probably like, oh, great, this is a chance for me to sort of expand, my profile as an NFL star. And he's been asked 2 questions about a rookie.
Yeah.
And there's 2 more coming.
Yeah.
So Eisen then asked Josh Hines-Allen, will Travis Hunter play more on offense or on defense?
I mean, seeing what I'm seeing right now.
What do you think?
Offense.
You do think so?
I think offense. But again, you stick him on that defensive side of the ball as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's going to make a play. And I think for us, it's just communication. If he can be able to communicate with everybody else in the back end, know the difference between, if we're in cover 1, if we're in man, if we're in cover 2, cover 3, how do we play those? Do we carry these? And if he can get those basics out of it,
yes,
I think everybody else is going to work with him. And then you have guys up front that are just rushing. So now if we can get to the quarterback in 2-3 seconds and affect the quarterback, put the ball in the air, let's see if he's going to make a play, which we know he can. So
I thought that was interesting about, can he get the basics?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And again, it depends how in-depth they're going to get. To me, I would think when you're playing Carolina week 1, you got to know the tendencies of Ted McMillan and Adam Thielen, and you got to know what Leggett does in this situation and what Bryce Young's looking for in this situation. So you got to get all that information to play DB, and then you got to walk across the hall to the wide receiver room, and you got to figure out what Carolina does in nickel, what they do in dime, what they do on 3rd and long, how Carolina matches up on 2nd and 7 in this situation. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Travis Hunter's a smart dude. I think he's like a 4.0 student.
Yeah, great student.
You can be around him for 10 seconds and realize how smart and articulate and all that is. So I'm not saying there's anything there. I'm just saying I don't know if Albert Einstein could ascertain all of this information week in and week out to play 50 snaps at DB and 50 snaps at wide receiver. They're going to have to, for lack of better terminology, dumb something down for him so he can get everything in that he needs to before kickoff.
It's a monumental challenge, and I'm not smart enough to know this. As a defensive mind, it'd be a great question for Coach Campo. But let's say that they feel like he really only knows his responsibilities in man. Well, it's not going to take long for your opponent to realize when Travis Hunter is in the game, you're in man coverage. Now, how much of a disadvantage is that? That would be what I'd be interested in knowing from a defensive coach's perspective,
right,
of how much does that limit what we can do if I'm putting a play. And again, to your point, Travis Hunter may be listening to this laughing right now saying, I already know, he's not arrogant, but he may be like, guys, I have a pretty good idea what we're doing on zone and man. And
well, if he's listening, feel free to call in,
right,
Travis.
Yeah,
we'd love to talk
absolutely.
to you.
But it's just again, it's such a monumental challenge physically, but also mentally. One thing that Eisen wrapped it up with Josh Hines-Allen, at least on the Travis Hunter front, in regards to the leadership that at least Travis has to kind of lean on both sides of the ball in his position rooms with Brian Thomas Jr. and Tyson Campbell helping Travis Hunter.
Again, you have offensive side, you got Brian Thomas Jr. You know, a guy
who's a stud in his own right.
Who guys stepped on the scene last year and did his thing.
Yes.
And you expect the same things to happen again this year. So again, all that burden on that side of the ball doesn't have to be put on him. Just catch the ball, make some plays.
Right.
Do what you do. Awesome, because you got a number one receiver out here who we know is going to make a lot of plays. And then you go on the other side. You go look at corner one. You got Tyson Campbell, who's been having one of the best camps that I've seen him have all year. I mean, since he's been here.
Yes.
And so you have another guy that can travel and can play the offense's best receiver. So now it's going to put you in a better position to also make plays. So again, the pressure is just for him, obviously, to stay healthy and just to do what you do. You have guys that can take the burden because that's what we are. We're a team, and I think we're a well-balanced team that can kind of help everybody, especially help him. And we want to help him because one of the best players, and I think he's going to be one of the best players in the National Football League at one point. But right now, it's just all about being the best teammate, and I know he is, and continue to keep making plays.
This isn't being critical of Rich Eisen because obviously the world wants to know everything they can about Travis Hunter. If you're an NFL fan, which is why you're watching the Rich Eisen show, Travis Hunter, in terms of a Jaguar storyline, is number one, and there isn't a close second. So I get this isn't a critique of Rich Eisen for asking 4 questions about Travis Hunter, but what a good sport Josh Hines Allen is. What a great leader. We listened to the clips.
Yeah.
Not a hint of really. Another question about this guy, and again, I just hope it really works out for Josh Hines Allen. I hope he shatters Bracken's record, which he should do this season. And while I anticipate Trayvon Walker will ultimately become the better player, I do think it's really close. And I think Josh Hines Allen, I love your thought. I'd love one day for us to be going to a Jaguar game and the big event is at halftime, Josh Hines Allen going into the Pride, 10, 15, 20 years from now, whenever he, gets, hopefully he plays here for many, many more years. And then obviously there'll be a little bit of a waiting time before they induct him.
And shout out to Rich Eisen for showing the Jaguars a lot of love. Had Joshua Hines Allen in studio yesterday, had Tony Khan in studio today. So the Jaguars are getting their fair share of press from the Rich Eisen program the last couple of days.
Yes, they are, and we certainly appreciate it and enjoy it. We'll get into some of those Tony Khan clips perhaps on tomorrow's show. But when we come back, I'm going to get it to Florida basketball. Urban Meyer had a really interesting comment about what Billy Donovan winning his first national title did for Urban Meyer's Gators football program the year as they then ended up winning the national championship. We'll share that with you. You are listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances live.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL. The power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Hacker here, and guess what my scale reads? 195 pounds. I'm shocked seeing that number, but it's there every month. The weight is staying off after dropping 122 pounds. Absolutely life-changing. Awaken180weightloss.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
This 4th of July, Navy Mutual would like to salute Yogi Berra as our hero in sports. Berra, a 15-time All-Star with the New York Yankees, was also one of the thousands who stormed the beaches of Normandy. The Hall of Famer is considered one of the greatest catchers of all time.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water in my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Cooking with Crisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rolling.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair. It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Welcome back to The Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation, but he'll be back on Monday. We've got Hacker, JJ. I'm Hayes Carlion. So this is sort of killing two birds with one stone, because I can continue to wish Paul Simon a speedy recovery, and we're getting ready to talk Gators basketball.
Yeah.
So you got to play Gotta play You Can Call Me Out. So that's what we're doing, and I hope you're enjoying it. So Urban Meyer had a really interesting thought that he tweeted out. And again, I understand, he's still, I mean, until the Jaguars have a winning, if Liam Cohen wins 11 games this year, I think no one in Jacksonville is going to really hold anything against Urban Meyer for his 1-year debacle here.
You don't think Trent Baalke is kind of the guy now instead of Urban?
I think without a doubt.
Yeah. When you talk about you want to see venom in Jaguar fans' eyes,
right?
I think it's Baalke more so than Herb.
I agree.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. But there's still that negative connotation, and for the purposes of this is just talking about Urban Meyer's experience as the Florida football coach. Basically 20 years ago when Billy Donovan won the first basketball title, because this is something that we've talked about with Billy Napier's team. Does it hurt the football team that Florida just won the men's basketball title, or does it help them? And I have thought it helps them because winning on that campus is contagious. And I think the football program knows they have the biggest spotlight. And the men's basketball team, they have stolen that spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the football team is going to be more motivated to have a special year to kind of surpass what the basketball team did. Not on accomplishment, but on, obviously fan interest for that fan base is geared way more around football than it is men's basketball.
How would the success, and I'm just curious, how would the success of the basketball team negatively affect the football team?
I think just the pressure of it. Why can't you guys, they just won the national title. He won it in his 3rd year.
Right.
You're going into your 4th year and you can't get the football team to anything better than the Gasparilla Bowl. What's going, Billy Napier is 19-19.
Right. Yeah.
It's Florida's coach. So I think that's the negative connotation, but so it's interesting and we'll never really know, but there is a person in Urban Meyer who has gone through this exact thing. Now he won the national title in his 2nd year in Gainesville. His 1st year was okay. No one was upset at how Urban Meyer did in his 1st year. I would say it was sort of a mixed bag, but no one was ready to, run him out of Gainesville or anything.
They went 10-3, didn't they?
I don't know that it was that good. I'd have to check, but I think they played in maybe where'd they go? The Outback Bowl, maybe?
Yeah, I thought they had
year?
Pretty decent year.
Pretty decent year. But certainly it then got accentuated in 06 when they won the national title in his 2nd year. But this was interesting. This is Urban Meyer talking about how it benefited his Gator football program by Billy Donovan winning the first basketball title in school history.
The best I've ever witnessed is with Billy Donovan was my neighbor. He won 2 national championships, and I remember he invited me to Indianapolis to watch them beat UCLA, and that's the first time I witnessed something like that. And I get a text from his operations guy. There's 30 seconds, 45 seconds of timeout, TV timeout. I get a text message from his operations guy, hey, coach wants you in the locker room. Start shaking, what? So I walk down behind the bleachers, all Gator fans everywhere, and I walk in the locker room and I watch, it's Al Horford and Brewer and Joakim Noah, and they, the 3, 2, 1, boom, confetti goes. And I started bawling. I'm watching, that's my boys. I used to go watch them practice. It's my neighbor. They come in that locker room, and I'll never forget this, Mark. I looked at those players, and I thought, if there's any way I can get my football team in here to experience this moment with these guys, they'll stop all that nonsense. They'll start getting real serious about their trade if they can somehow see what this is like. And that's why I started something called Champions Day, and Billy Donovan spoke at the first one, and I tried to get that point. And Billy Donovan used to always say, just give me 4 months. Just give me 4 months and put all the nonsense away, all the, human element stuff that's out there on college campuses for 4 months. And that was the result of the relationship with the basketball team. How about that? We won it 9 months later. We beat Ohio State in a national championship. And I know that the 2006 Florida basketball team impacted our team.
What do you think? Is there a positive effect for Billy Napier's football team with Todd Golden winning the national title?
Yeah, I hope so. Urban Meyer said as much 20 years prior. The fact that Florida, they came out of, I won't say they came out of nowhere, but the expectation on them was Sweet 16 will be a successful year.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they did what they did and went on to win the national championship is still mind-blowing to me. And to think about how they did it, I always go back to that picture. With 2 minutes and 51 seconds to go in the Elite Eight, Florida is down 9, and they found a way to come back and beat Texas Tech. It's amazing. So I hope there's a positive thought there. But again, positivity in July meets reality in September and October. And the reality is, it's tougher to win in football in the SEC, even though the basketball SEC was very, very good this year. But if you find 3 or 4 terrific players in basketball, they can carry you. A Walter Clayton, a Will Richard, Alex Condon, so on. You need quadruple that in football to be competitive in the SEC. So from that standpoint, it's easier because it takes fewer players. And Florida's got to catch up because they were behind Alabama and still are, LSU and Georgia and teams in their own conference when it comes to roster configuration.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Florida also announced their non-conference basketball schedule today, which was odd because it's like they send out a press release saying, here's our non-conference schedule, but there's a game that's missing because, a couple weeks ago we talked about this, JJ, that John Rothstein and others had reported that Florida and Miami were going to play here in Jacksonville in November. Well, that game isn't on here. Instead, on the schedule that Florida released, the non-conference schedule, it just says November 16th to be determined at neutral site. So I don't know whether that's maybe Miami isn't ready to announce it. I still would think it's happening, but I found that kind of strange.
I still hate that it's on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's
when the Jags play.
I don't get that either.
Yuck.
It's the Chargers game, right?
It's a home Jaguars game?
It's a home Jaguars game.
So I'm assuming it'll be like night. So
that would be a nice little doubleheader.
Yeah,
though.
It would be cool, I guess, if it's like at 8 o'clock. But anything before that to me would suck.
That's a great idea. Let's get a bunch of hammered Jaguar fans over to the arena to watch Gator basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll go really well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but it's such a great non-conference. I mean, they open the season in Las Vegas November 3rd against Arizona. The home opener is against UNF on November 6th. Do
you like my alma mater's chances in that game?
What do you think the line's going to be on that game?
A lot.
39.5 maybe?
But you know what? That's a paycheck game for UNF. But UNF, I mean, obviously different coaching staff. They need those games, and it sucks that you're going to lose in the fashion that you did or do. But they went into Georgia Tech and South Carolina and won games last year and got paid for doing it.
Without a doubt. And I'm not, this isn't a crit. They've got to schedule those.
They have to.
Yeah,
they have to schedule them. JU has to.
Yeah, it's a financial reality. And it's good that they just have to take a bus trip to Gainesville and not get on a plane and go cross country because they've done that. I think they're going to do that this year again.
They played Gonzaga a couple years ago.
And so, sometimes obviously you've got the travel involved with that. UNF is Florida's home opener November 6th. Then the Gators play FSU November 11th. They've got the game at Duke December 2nd. And then they play UConn in Madison Square Garden December 9th. Now, it takes a lot to distract us from the football season. So it's going to be a big challenge for this Florida basketball team to really get a lot of our attention, I think, that time of year. But particularly if the Gators are having a big-time football season, if the Jaguars are having a big-time football season. But what a non-conference slate. I mean, those are going to be some unbelievable games to watch.
I mean, my expectations are going to be realistic early in the year. You have an entire new backcourt. And when I say an entire new backcourt, I mean most of the guards, if not all the guards, are going to play in the first month of the year, depending on Klapshar. Weren't on the Gator roster last year. So there are going to be some growing pains. I mean, you're not easing into this thing. Like you said, it's Arizona to kick off the year. It's Duke a month into the year. It's UConn. I mean, it would not surprise me if Florida maybe takes a couple of beatings, in the non-conference, but I think that will ultimately pay off once you get into conference play.
My expectation is to win every game by 20 points this season.
I
need to get a readjustment between now and going into the crazies. But I think this team is going to be unbelievably good.
I think the front court will be.
Yeah.
And Xavier Lee, it looks great.
Yeah.
Obviously Princeton is not Florida, is not the SEC.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. The Boogie Flan thing is great, but again, I'm just trying to be realistic. I mean, Arizona, Duke, UConn, I mean, that's crazy, the non-conference. Golden got a little criticism before no one cared after they won the national title at the non-conference last year. He won't get any criticism this year. It's probably the toughest non-conference schedule in America.
It's going to have to be up there. I mean, Kansas, Kentucky, they always schedule. I mean, Duke will schedule hard, North Carolina. The really true blue bloods, UConn, I'm sure, has I would think a vicious non-conference. But yeah, for what it's the hardest non-conference that Florida's ever had.
Oh yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Even when Donovan had the really good years, normally they'd play maybe one or two non-conference games of note outside of FSU, but that was about the extent of it.
Billy took a team into Cameron Indoor. That didn't go very well in the late 90s.
No, it did not. But yeah, I mean, I think they've got a chance to be special again. So we will see. We've got one segment left on the Frangie Show. When we come back, we're going to talk about a strange baseball occurrence. How could somebody get paid $1.2 million today if they haven't played for a team since 1999? It happened. We'll tell you about it. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The latest future odds for the 2025 World Series, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the betting favorite to repeat as champions. They are plus 200. The New York Yankees are the best bet out of the American League at plus 600. The Tigers, who have the best record in the league, at plus 850. Philadelphia, plus 900. The Mets, who have lost 13 of 16, are still plus 1,000 to win this year's World Series. The Cubs on top of the NL Central, plus 1,200. The Astros on top of the AL West, also plus 1,200, and the Tampa Bay Rays only a game back of the Yankees at plus 1,800. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
When your plumbing backs up, your septic's acting shady, or your AC quits on a 95-degree day, who are you going to call? Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Don't take just our word for it. Here's what real customers are saying about their experience with our company.
Megan in the office was so helpful and polite. Scheduling was easy, and the tech showed up right on time.
From plumbing and septic to air conditioning, we do it all. Call 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Ready to ride the waves? Best Bet St. Augustine is turning up the heat with our Summer Splash promotion. We're giving away over $40,000 in cash and prizes, including a brand new 2025 Yamaha Wave. Every hour you play poker or table games earns you an entry to win. It all leads up to the grand prize drawing on August 9th. The more you play, the more chances you have. Don't miss your shot to make a splash this summer. Visit bestbetjacks.com for all the details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and Lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors. Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
One man, one hammer. One place to hear it drop. Hammer Time with Hayes, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
On 1010XL, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic.
We
He went to probably 4 or 5 jewelry stores.
Jacksonville's Mitch Vandal went to the town center looking for an engagement ring, but found the big box corporate jewelry experience wasn't for him.
Nobody was really helping us. One of the stores, some people walked in behind us and they were offered beer and champagne, and I'm wearing shorts and a cutoff, so I don't really look the part. So I was like, well, I guess we'll go somewhere else. I don't know if they think we can afford to shop here or what.
So he went across and discovered locally owned Beards Diamonds.
When I walked in, everybody just said, hey, welcome in, welcome to Beards.
Mitch loved the service and attention he got at Beards and ended up with a bigger, better quality diamond.
It was about twice the size of what I thought I could afford, and it was also about twice the size of what my wife thought she wanted.
Today, Mitch tells all his friends, shop local, shop Beards.
You're going to get the best deal and the best diamond.
Unbeatable value, unmatched selection, uncompromising personal service.
Anybody that I know, I want them to shop at Beards.
Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids around the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jumboshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, it's been a fun Frangie show today. Frank is on vacation. He'll be back on Monday. We talked a little bit about Hackers Wimbledon pool falling apart, so hopefully that gets turned around for you. Carnage.
It's been a bloodbath, man. And look, it makes for good parody. It makes for some exciting things moving forward, but not for my fantasy Wimbledon team.
Yeah, we talked about all the all the things going on in the NBA. SGA gets $285 million extension. We talked about the SEC and Big Ten that we'd like to see an agreement there, at least for some football games. I think I'd like to see Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, USC, Tennessee, Penn State, LSU, Michigan. I'd like that to be the A group. And then the B group, Auburn versus Washington, Oklahoma versus Oregon, Ole Miss versus Wisconsin, Texas A&M versus Iowa. Again, we talked about it. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky, they already have that extra out-of-conference game that's that in-state rivalry that's so critical. But I thought you brought up a great point. If they wanted to participate, they should certainly be able to participate if they, really wanted to beef up the schedule.
Yeah, it makes your schedule harder, obviously. But if you're the Gators, you could sell on the recruiting trail. Hey, you're going to be on the SEC, schedule 8 times a year. We get Florida State every year. And, oh, by the way, we'll get 2 years against Michigan and 2 years against Penn State. That'd be a pretty good selling point for recruits.
Without a doubt. And so we talked about that. We got into the athletics top 25 players in the SEC. Lenora Sellers, number 1, the South Carolina quarterback. A couple things I thought were interesting on Manny Navarro's list. Georgia did not have a player in the top 11, which, again, it's just one guy's list, but it's been a while since that could even remotely be published. Tennessee had none in the top 17, and Texas A&M had none in the top 24. Just speaks to the depth of the league, because those 3 teams, Georgia might win the national title, Tennessee might be back in the playoff, and Texas A&M might get in the playoff. I don't think anybody would be greatly surprised if those 3 things happen. The Gators had 3 players in that top 25. Center Jake Slaughter, 10. Quarterback DJ Lagway, 22nd. And defensive end Tyreek Sapp, 24th. We talked about that. We talked about Josh Hines-Allen being on the Rich Eisen show, talking about Travis Hunter. Some really good comments from Josh Hines-Allen. What a great ambassador for the organization and a great leader and a good sport to be willing to field 4 questions about a rookie.
Yeah.
So
he's probably used to it. I'm sure the same thing happened when Trevor Lawrence got drafted.
Yeah.
The Jaguars have drafted some high-profile dudes as of late.
Yes, they have. But so it's been fun. We've enjoyed it. We'll welcome in Rick Ballou here in a minute. But did you see today is Bobby Bonilla Day? The New York Mets send him a check for $1.19 million. They will do this every year until 2035 as part of a deferred contract. Bonilla, who was a great player when he played, he's 62 years old now, has not played for the Mets since 1999.
Get 1.1 or what was it, almost 1.2 million dollars every July 1st, and it's to the point where Bobby Bonilla has his own day now. July 1st is always Bobby Bonilla Day to sports fans, and to me, once you hit Bobby Bonilla Day, that means football is right around the corner. But yeah, it's not a bad thing when you're 62 years old. He's probably playing golf today, knowing he's pocketing $1.2 million from a franchise he hasn't played with in 2.5 decades.
It's just stunning. And I saw Ohtani's got some crazy deferred money. Like he gets like $68 million a year starting in like 2038.
That would be very nice.
Like his is way deferred. So that'll be something for our kids to discuss.
Joke's on him. We might not make it that long.
Exactly. That was a bad deal, Shohei. But anyway, we'll do this now.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou joining us. Bobby Bonilla Day.
Right?
How about that?
You know, he was only owed like $6 million or something. It was a bad Madoff deal.
Yeah.
And then he ended up making all of this plus interest.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst deals that the New York Mets ever could have made.
Still 10 more years left.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. It's absolutely incredible.
I wonder if he's happy. I'm one of those who believes money equals happiness, and whenever I say that, people tell me I'm dead wrong.
How could anybody remotely quibble with that?
No. I mean, what are your goals? What do you do? I mean, if I was Bobby Bonilla, I'd be getting in 3, 4, 5 rounds of golf a week. He may not want to golf.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure he's having fun.
When you retire early.
Yes, whatever he wants to be doing, I'm sure he is enjoying it.
You better have some hobbies.
Well, yeah. Now, granted, I'm not the biggest baseball fan like Rick is, but I'm looking at Bobby Bonilla's career here. I don't remember half of this. He started with the Chicago White Sox. Then he went to Pittsburgh.
That's why I remember him as a Pirate.
Yeah, with Bonds.
And Van Slyke.
And Van Slyke, yep. And then he goes to the Mets. Had a cup of coffee. I remember Baltimore, right? Then he goes to the Florida Marlins. I remember that he was on the World Series team.
He was in Chicago when I was there.
And then,
you play for the Cubs?
I don't see him with the Cubs here. I see the Dodgers, the Braves, and ending with the Cardinals.
Wow, he went all over the place.
Played everywhere.
Yeah.
So what was his lifetime batting average? Like 288?
Oh, gosh.
Like
Bobby
that?
Bonilla, 16 years in Major League Baseball.
270s?
Lifetime batting average of 279.
Yeah, look at you.
He was a good player. I mean, but I tell you what, and he had some serious run-ins with the media.
Oh, really?
He pushed a camera. He went Kenny Rogers pushing a camera. He basically challenged a scribe in the locker room one day. And, yeah, he was a hothead at times. That New York pressure got on him. You know, he didn't hear about it really all that much in Pittsburgh, but obviously he left and made the big-time money. I remember when he signed, he got a pretty big contract as well. So.
Anything else in baseball that's kind of caught your eye to this point?
Tomorrow will be a lot of fun with Kershaw. He's 3 strikeouts away from 3,000. A lot of people don't know this. There's only 19 players in the history of Major League Baseball with 3,000 career strikeouts.
Wow.
And 2 are not in the Hall of Fame. One is because of steroids of Roger Clemens. The other is because of his political views.
Oh, wow.
And Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling, wow.
I mean, can you believe that? He's not in the Hall of Fame.
That's crazy.
Because he's so one-sided, politically speaking, that Hall of Fame voters have said, forget about it.
Is he even because he's not even on the ballot anymore?
No,
right?
his 10 years are up. So if he ever gets voted in, he's going to have to go in Fred McGriff just got voted in. They keep changing the names, but it used to be the Veterans Committee. Yeah. I'm not even sure what it is now.
What do you got coming up tonight?
We got a lot of good stuff coming up tonight. I had Daniel Griffiths lined up. He just put something out there about opening drives that has really been a stickler for me, and I'm really maniacal about just how much of a coma the Jaguars are in offensively every single football game. And it was great because I got it with Daniel earlier today, and then all of a sudden he put this out there. So a little extra fodder. We'll do that, but we're really going to take a deep dive here on some numbers with Trevor Lawrence and kind of forecast with this very, very impressive Liam Cohen offense a year ago in Tampa Bay, what he did with Baker Mayfield. Realistically, what can you expect as far as positive changes this year with Lawrence in the offense? So this is a good time of year to look at that. We're going to do that.
That's awesome. We'll be listening. Thanks, Rick. And Hack, you again pulling double duty.
Yeah.
What's up coming up tonight on Hacker After Dark?
NFC South preview continues. Longtime sports radio listeners in Jacksonville remember the Mac Attack. Chris McLean. He's in Charlotte now. He's my Carolina Panthers guy. He'll join us to talk Panthers, along with Garrett Padell of CBS Sports to talk Jags training camp.
Sounds great. Wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for joining us again. Really appreciate it.
Hayes, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
For Hacker, for JJ, for the vacationing Frank Frangie, I am Hayes Carline. Stay tuned. Into the Night with Rick Ballou is up next. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.